Okay, and now admit. Okay, welcome to tonight's meeting. Tonight we have Doug Auld is going to be the guest of honor. Nick Curto is going to be one of the tormentors of poor Doug. And we're going to get started. Bruce isn't with us tonight. I'm going to start out just the brief introduction of Doug. Some of the amazing things that he's done over the years. My knowledge of Doug goes back about 5, 6 years ago, and when Doug shared some amazing photographs that he took. Doug lives in Jersey City, I believe. Correct, Doug?
It's Hoboken.
Sorry, wrong city. Right state, wrong city. But anyway, Doug has taken some very amazing photographs, daylight photographs of UFO activity that has been taking place in the New York vicinity. Nick himself has seen UFOs himself over the past couple of months as well. So we're living in a UFO mecca here. But that's only part of what I'm going to talk about tonight and what Doug is going to be talking about. Doug is also an accomplished, not only photographer, but he's an accomplished fine artist. He's done some amazing paintings. As a matter of fact, he'll be talking about those in a little bit because I'm going to make sure we ask the questions. He is also a musician, and he's written some amazing musical scores, as well as a musical that he's hoping to get on Broadway. We're shooting for Broadway. Anyway, Doug will also talk about that and a number of other things as well. So without further ado, I'm going to start out with a song that Doug wrote. It's about 2 or 3 minutes long, but it's very entertaining, and I think it will give you a sense of who Doug is. Okay, so bear with me while I fire it up. Nick, would you like to fill a little airtime here with Doug?
Sure, sure. Doug, at some point, you're going to give an overall picture of your musical.
Yes, I will. And Joe, if the song is Even Einstein Struggled, if that's the song you're trying to find,
Well, I see obfuscation right
you
now.
could play Obfuscation. Okay, get ready to play that. I was just telling Nick that I know somebody in one of the ABC agencies, so to speak, and I had heard him say that he's only authorized to obfuscate. And I heard this like 6, 7 years ago. And I took that word and I take all impressions that I get and I added it into my show and I wrote a lyric. It has to do with my two agents in my show, and we'll go over what the show's about because you'll need the context. But
Can
these
you
two agents are
can
trying to.
you hear it? It's playing right now. Can you hear
No,
it?
no. Make sure you start from the start.
Okay. Oh, okay. Hold on.
It's called 3 Minutes of Silence.
Okay, we're getting ready to start now. Okay, let me just get back to share. Come on. I was
That's
afraid this was going to happen.
that's the cover for my musical, Hypnotta,
Okay.
in which I did the painting. There it is, Obfuscation.
Oh, it's played.
Now you need volume. Probably should
Doug,
iron.
Doug, when you do the song, do you hear the music first or the lyrics first, or how does that work?
Just like oh, when I create the song,
Yes.
I tend to be a songwriter that hears and writes lyrics first. I write the lyric, I get the impression of what I want to say, and because I want to keep the lyric truthful.
Mhm.
I don't want to just force it into a musical setup that forces rhymes or things like that. And then I usually kind of hear the themes for the music and put it to that. But I don't think Joe's doing too well with getting this thing going. Um, Joe, maybe you can work that out. We could discuss something first, or
Yeah, why don't we do that? I'm gonna, yeah, bear with me.
by the way, Stanley and Bruce, I think I met you on Robert Morningstar's thing a couple of weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. Uh,
You're
They're
not
both
still
muted.
hearing it, are you?
I never haven't heard
No,
it yet.
not yet. Not yet, Joe. Stanley and Bruce are muted at the moment.
Oh, I
Okay.
see. Okay.
All
I
right.
I remember the tree behind Bruce.
Okay, I apologize. I did turn it off. So let's go through the discussion. Why don't we start with Hypnotica? Okay, why
Hey,
don't you go in and start talking about that? Tell us all about it, if you would, Doug. Okay. And
okay,
again,
first
my
of all,
apologies.
hello everyone. My musical is called Hypnotta. Hypnotta, not Hypnotica, Hypnotta. Some people say that. Hypnotta was a word that was given me in the middle of the night. I woke up, I sat up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I said Hypnotta. And I never heard the word before. I don't even know where it came from. And I asked myself while I was sitting there, I said, did I say that or did I bring it back from? I don't know where it came from, but was I given it or did I say it? It didn't matter. I wrote it down. And because next morning I had to get up early and play ice hockey, ran out the door. And when I came home, I saw the name and I was really happy that I wrote it down. And I sat with it. I just sat with that word. And now at that time, I'm making art. I'm living a creative life. I'm studying UFO for years, UFOs with the community, Grant Cameron and Chris Bledsoe and all the different people I've met, Peter Robbins through the on out, you know. And I was starting to move towards writing more music, not for a show. And I remember every time I would write a song and play it for my family or somebody, they would all say, "Oh, that's not pop music. That's like show music. That's sort of like movie music or show music." I'm like, "Oh, darn, you know, I'll never get anything on the radio." I'm thinking, and as I'm working on those songs and letting them become what they become, because growing up in my family, I watched all classic, powerful films like Godzilla. And my father was playing Puccini arias at home on Sunday. And I loved Rachmaninoff. So I always had this grandiose, like, love of great sweeping themes, romantic music, you know. So as I'm writing my music, it came to me that I've got UFOs as a major part of my life. I got music as a major part of my life. And it came to me that wouldn't it be great if I wrote a musical on the topic of UFOs? And the reason why I chose a theater piece and musical is because it doesn't happen. It's you know, we got Steven Spielberg. We have special effects till we're nauseous at this point. We have so much high tech stuff. Even in the worst of TV commercials, there's better special effects than there was 5 or 10 years ago in movies. And I wanted to do something almost, I guess the best analogy I would say is if you know the movie It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart. It's such a beautiful feel good family movie at the end. And Clarence, the angel, is sort of like my UFO. It's like you don't really have to believe in angels to enjoy It's a Wonderful Life. And my feeling is you don't really have to believe in UFOs to enjoy Hypnotta. People have compared Hypnotta to a Wizard of Oz a little bit. It's got a kind of a old world feel to it, and I don't have it, you know, really burdened with all. I don't want lasers and things like that in it. Basically, it's a story of two young girls who are neighbors and best friends all their life, and they're coming back from renting a movie. They're going to play a movie at home, and they have a UFO event out in an open field. It's like with woods and everything like that because they're avoiding a bunch of kids that they normally pass who bully them. and they're picked on for some reason, and that becomes explained in the show. They have the UFO event. It changes their life, especially Nectar, my main character, Nectar. It's Nectar and Jilly. Nectar becomes so moved by it that now you fast 5 years later in her family with a parish priest that comes over, and it's a good Catholic family, and on and on. And Nectar has now moved to starting a radio program. She wants to get agreement. She wants to find other experiencers. She wants to put it out there. Hey, listen, this is what happened to me and my friend. Does anybody else know anything about it? Has anyone else experienced anything like this? And the show kind of starts to unravel from there. It's the idea that they're going to prove their event real. They want to prove it happened, and they want to engage others, and they want to enlighten people. So that's basically how the story starts. It dovetails into the CIA coming around because they're like, hey, hey, Agent Bryant, remember that sighting we scuttled 5 years ago? Well, those kids are back and they're talking about it again, you know? And so, it starts like that, and it proceeds. Um, it's it's got it's going to have, I can't do it all, but it's going to have some choreography. And I want the ETs and everything else that's in the show to be a little bit like the Lion King, in that it's done with costuming and mime and all that kind of stuff. So that's basically how I would start to describe it.
Very good. It
Muted.
sounds like it's going to be interesting. I can't wait for it to come out.
Bruce,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
oh, I'm sorry.
Bruce was muted.
I was I was muted. I completely forgot. Doug, I'm just telling you, I think that Broadway is ready for something like that, and I'll go further. I think that the Metropolitan Opera,
Uh,
because I've thought also that this is on such a scale, and
yeah,
it's so important, truly important,
yeah.
that I thought an opera also would be absolutely timed to be now, because it's the same thing. So both Broadway and Metropolitan Opera, I could see it going in both ways. And I think that the audience now is more ready than ever.
I have to agree in this sense that whether it's whether it's with real intent or not, our government and all the stuff that we've been seeing over the last several years, all these hearings, David Grush, this one, that one, whether it's real, whether it's disingenuous or genuine, every kid on the block has UFOs in their head. They know about it. What's happening, in my opinion, is that tinfoil hat is being removed more and more every day, and now it's becoming like, oh, that's kind of cool because I heard above board news talk about it. I heard government hearings on it. If government hearings are happening, it must be real, which is funny. But um, so I do think it's loosening up, and I think that the audience that I would speak to, and it doesn't have to be on Broadway, maybe eventually I'd like it to get there, but the audience I would be speaking to, a theater going crowd, maybe a tourist crowd, and maybe a crowd that doesn't like, I don't want to necessarily be preaching to the choir in the UFO community. They already know it. I want to bring, it's sort of a show with a Trojan horse of ufology coming through the center of it, that you enjoy the show anyway, because there's a lot of drama between bullying, young people claiming something, being bullied, being ostracized from their friends, mom and dad feeling there's a devil at work with their daughter. Father Douglas, named after me, Father Douglas, the character, he comes in. He's a longtime parish priest and friend, and he's introducing the idea to the mom and dad that, hey, listen, this could be devil's work. We don't know. So there's a lot of story there. There's also an out of body experience in it. There's a lot of there's drama, there's tears, but it is the most triumphant finish. Very Bruce, very similar to It's a Wonderful Life at the end when they all come home and it's like hugging and everybody's like tears, and I think it's very entertaining, but it leaves you with oh, wait a minute, maybe this stuff is real, and that's what I want to do.
Okay. We have one hand up now. Generally speaking, we open it up towards the end. But I'm going to ask Bruce Cornett. You had your hand up. You want to make a quick comment or question? Unmute yourself. You're muted.
Can you hear me now?
We hear you now.
Okay, good. How many stories, Doug, have you heard where the CIA gets involved very early in a sighting?
I wouldn't really be able to give a really good answer to that. I don't know. You mean sightings that we've all followed and listened to, right? Like that are out there?
Right, right. That would be then broadcast on the television, and it's by the CIA doing this.
Hmm. Well, of course, I don't, my knowledge of the CIA is limited only in that I know what the average person and a lot of the people in the UFO community suspect. Um, but yeah, I mean, whether the CIA is controlling movie producers, movie directors, putting media out with the CIA's hand of approval. Um,
Right.
that stuff, yeah, I'm very I will never say anything in a concrete manner, but I've heard many times that certain major directors are that's where they're getting their information. If I'm not mistaken, Close Encounters of the Third Kind is like Project Serpo, and that's where Spielberg came up with that. But who was he briefed by? So I think it's a controlled kind of leak and a controlled opposition in a sense, as best I could explain it.
Also, along the same lines, was it Gene Roddenberry? I think actually worked for the CIA back in the maybe early 60s.
Yeah.
And supposedly, a lot of the storylines that ended up in Star Trek had some type of background going back into his background. It's a fascinating area because also Robert F. Kennedy Jr. just came up with a very interesting speech, and he laid out quite a compelling story about about the relationships with the organizations such as the CIA and so on. So it looks like fertile ground for a lot of stories, a lot of plays in there, maybe.
Yeah, Joe and Nick,
Yes.
you probably haven't heard this story of mine, but I think I may have told you. When
Okay, hey, Bruce, let's hold it for the last 15
I
minutes,
just
okay?
wanted to say that the CIA was involved from the very beginning of my research in the Wallkill River Valley. That's all.
Oh, I
Oh,
believe it. I believe
I
it.
believe it too.
Good point. Good point.
I believe. Well, I'd love to hear about it, Bruce, a little later. That would be
Well,
great.
thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
You better watch out. You might end up having your painting done.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. So I have to keep smiling here.
In my
Okay.
whistleblower series, yeah. But yeah, so go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say, well, touching base on, kind of flowing into the next aspect of it. What is your musical background? How far have you gone back? When did you start getting interested? Did you play in a rock band in a garage? Or I'm serious.
Yeah, yeah, no. I have a woman friend of mine who's an NDE experiencer I met, and she's been working together with me. She's getting me involved in a bunch of things. She's like, Doug, you have the strangest background for what you do. I went to school for auto mechanics. I'm not a
Okay.
I'm dyslexic, self-diagnosed when I was in grammar school, Catholic grammar school. I was born in 1953, so figure that stretch of time through grammar school and everything. And I always felt like I was the bad kid that didn't know how to keep up. I couldn't read, none would come and smack me over the fingers or something. And I believe I'm very intuitive. If there's strength that I have where it isn't in academia or scholastics, it's I have a kick the tires in me because my dad was a car dealer, and I have a mechanic sense, and I have a very good common sense, but I'm very intuitive. I have most everything I know that I believe I know in the world is through intuition. And so um, I started, my brother Greg, around, I was 18 years old. He comes in, he picks me up from the technical high school I was at. He says, be ready Friday with a bag. We're going somewhere. I said, okay. He comes in, picks me up, and we drive to Philadelphia to see the Doors play, Morrison and the Doors. And I'm like, and I never, that was the first experience for me. They played in the Spectrum in Philadelphia. And I came home from that and I was like blown away. I was like, I don't want to be an auto mechanic. I want to be a rock star or something like that. So I started playing. I bought a piano. I bought a little Farfisa organ, which is what Ray used in the band. I started to learn. My brother Greg did a great job of learning to sing. We created a band. We started playing in the band. And as this is going along, I switched to learn how to tune and rebuild pianos. So I became a piano tuner, because to me, it's all transference of one skill set to another. Now I'm tuning pianos. Of all funny things, my drummer, Bob, is a piano mover. It's like God put this band together. So, so we got a band together and we started writing original music. And I actually rebuilt a little white baby grand piano, brought it on stage, and I electrified the soundboards with these German pickup systems and mixed them all into the thing. And we played, and we actually played at CBGB. I don't know if people know the name, CBGB's. Trudy Heller's Joint in the Woods. But we really burned ourselves out in a practice loft because we were overly perfectionist. And long story short, when I look back, I didn't really belong in that world. I wasn't willing to sit in a gutter till 3 o'clock in the morning. I wanted to get home, and it just didn't work out. But we had a nice following. So now I have music in me, and then my brother instigates again, older brother, and he says, "Doug, come on, we're going to go to see the Salvador Dali Museum in Cleveland, Ohio." So now I got the music from the Doors. We go to see Salvador Dali Museum, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to do anything else but paint. This is so cool. And fortunately, I was so stupid. I didn't know that these are not easy things to do. So I just started doing them. And I would say ever since my mid 20s on up, I started doing both piecemeal as I went along, making money on tuning and rebuilding pianos because you can get home early in the afternoon and have enough money to survive. And that's where the music and art started.
Very good. I think, Nick, you have a question or comment?
Two comments. One, Trudy Hellers, a producer I was working with many moons ago, said, Nick, have you ever designed a nightclub? And I said, no, but I've done a lot of other things, including my prom. And I said, and I've done other kinds of things like that, like interior design work, but not a nightclub. He said, do you think you could do something like that? I said, sign me up. Where do I go? He said, there's a person in New York named Trudy Heller. I want you to go down there in a taxi with your portfolio and talk to her. Right. So I did. And the bottom line is, long story short, she was charming, really interesting. And she says to me right at the interview, can you, Nick, walk around my nightclub and give me some idea of your vision of what you might want to do? I mean, this is like in the first 10 minutes.
Wow.
So I walk around the nightclub and I tell her my concept. I said, I know what I would do. And I told her, and she said, you're hired. I just wanted to share that with you. We just had also Gene Roddenberry. I've been a reader of the Urantia book, a level spiritual book, for almost 40 years. 40 years. Wow. And I'm on the National Outreach Committee for that. Gene Roddenberry and his wife in California attended a lot of the Urantia book study groups. And the thing was, about 5 years ago in New Jersey, they're going to have a big convention in one of the big hotels. And I knew that William Shatner was going to be there, along with some really amazing people. So I set up a table for the Urantia book, and I printed out what the Urantia book says in relationship to some of the produced series, and people were like astounded when I said, take a look, read this page, and then that series. That's the and they said, oh my God, there is a parallel here. I just had to tell you that.
Wow. I mean, I know very little of the Urantia book, but I did a cursory drive-by on it once, and I just didn't pick it up after that. Maybe someday we'll talk about it.
Absolutely.
Also, Doug,
Include me.
you mentioned Salvador Dali. I had the pleasure. My mother was one of those precocious artists with a 165 IQ, so not a lot of communication. She did weird things with communicating. But one of the things she did, she dragged me to Bridgehampton, the library in Bridgehampton around 1953, 1954. And who was there? Salvador Dali. And he had his painting, one with the crucifix.
Yeah.
Uh, and it was only my mom, myself, and the curator of I guess the art area. And so my mom had a chance to speak with Dali. And of course, I'm dragged in and I'm sitting right there and actually meeting him, shaking his hand and everything else. Weird guy, but boy, what a genius.
Oh
What a
yeah, weird
genius.
guy.
Yeah.
My brother met him at the St. Regis Hotel. He would come to the St. Regis Hotel in Manhattan every year at the time. My brother met him, and my brother still has it. My brother had a white T-shirt on. And he was talking to Dolly, and he said something like he didn't like Dolly's new work. My brother actually told him that.
An
And
art
and
critic.
and Dolly said, "It's not that you don't like." He said, "It's that you don't understand." And then he signed my brother's shirt, Dolly, right across his whole thing. And my brother Greg saved that shirt. He still has it, but he's quite a character.
Very interesting. Okay, well, I mean, now we understand your musical background. Where did it morph into the painting, or did the music painting morph into the music?
Let me add with the music is that after I started with the Doors-ish kind of quality and that kind of carnival-esque sound that I really loved, and I always loved like some sort of sinewy organ going through the background. I started to take classical piano lessons from a local piano teacher who actually studied with Van Cliburn, if anybody remembers the name Van Cliburn.
Yeah.
And I worked with her for a while, and I took to Edvard Grieg and Sergei Rachmaninoff. I liked big chord, heavy-handed music, and I did enough of it to find out that this is great and useful for my own songs. But I stopped because the rigors of learning classical piano is plus I'm an ice hockey player and my thumbs are fat and I'm like, this is not making for good, trills and tremolos. So I decided not to study so much, but I brought all that influence from the Doors to lyric sensibility, like Harry Chapin. I loved Harry Chapin. I met him several times. Um, Moody Blues, things like that. I brought that all forward um, into starting to write my own songs. And it's, at some point, it became evident when I engaged in the Hypnotta concept. I started to pull a lot of that together and say, all right, now you have a mission. So I started. My sister Doretta reminds me that I said the word Hypnotta to her 10 years ago, which means I started this journey about 10 years ago, which is hard for me to believe. But it's been 10 years and I've finished it. And Nick, you would know what I mean by this. Finished it in the sense of I'll never be done with it, but I got to stop somewhere. And now my feeling is these songs are developed scaffolds or very developed demos for a person who's done everything myself. I got some Broadway-ish singers to do some of the demos, and they're good. And it's now it's just like a matter of if the right producer got a hold of it and said we'd love to have an orchestra behind it, we would do the charts for the orchestra. or a four-piece band or whatever, whatever would be. But the content is all there. The content is ready to go.
Okay, what about your fine arts work,
Okay.
especially the amazing paintings, portraits you've been doing?
Yeah, well, I've always had this calling, with all of my creativity, to make some sort of splash, to make some sort of comment, to prod the times I live in, the society, to reflect on society. I never just wanted to make art uh, to sell because I knew they were pretty pictures or anything like that, and I was never really good at that. I always had to have a mission, and if I had a mission, I was turned on to, because I've been an investigator of things for many, many years. I've gone down the rabbit hole on so many topics, unbelievable, whether it's moon landing or JFK or 9/11. I was going into meetings in 9/11, and Ray McGovern, the FBI, and all these people, the CIA. I met a lot of them. Um, so I always was up to something, so to speak. So I started to say, all right, you got a great idea here. Why don't you just piece together some songs that have to do with ufology and I'm probably veering back onto music. The art I did, that's what I wanted to say. I did a series of whistleblowers, 100 portraits of people who made a very, very big impact on me, not knowing who was who. So, like, if I painted John Lear, I painted um, Chris Bledsoe. I painted a whole number of whistleblower people, even Serpico, people that were from all different fields, and did these portraits. And I made 100 portraits as one piece of work. So that's one solid piece of work, 100 portraits. And I would not sell one of them out of the 100. You either had to buy 100 or they go into a museum, or I wouldn't break it up. And I've remained that way ever since. Now, does everybody know Stephen Bassett? Stephen Bassett? Okay.
Sure. Yep.
I met Stephen Bassett and he looked at them. I was with Grant Cameron and we were in Vegas for a UFO conference. And he looked at them and he said, Doug, he said this to me about 7 or 8 years ago. He said, Doug, don't ever sell these because they're going to be worth a lot of, not only money, they're going to be worth a lot of interest in historical context. So I've managed to sit there with them. I don't know. I'm going to tilt my camera back. You'll
Sure.
see
Yep.
some of them are up high on the wall there. The small ones.
Yep.
Yeah, these back here. There's I see Bob Lazar, Dan Willis. Um, there's a number of them there. There's the woman from 9/11 book. So, but they're on my website, my DougAuld.com website. I have all that work on my website. And then I did a whole series of portraits on burn survivors. I got well known for that. The New York Times, a whole two-page spread on me in the Metro section that I painted adolescent people who survived burn injuries. And I did that after 9/11 happened. I lost a friend in 9/11. I know a lot of people were injured, but really what happened was a burned girl that I had met many years ago when I was about 21 years old made an impression on me. I like stared at her and I didn't know what to say. And when 9/11 happened and I came home that night, I remember laying on my bed and looking at my ceiling fan and saying, what are you doing with your life, Doug? Do something with your art that makes an impact. And when I promised I would do that, that little burn girl came flash into my. I'm a very big believer in the flash. That flash came to me, and they said, "Okay, that's what I'm going to do." And I went to St. Barnabas Burn Center here in Livingston, and I pitched the idea of volunteers to be part of this project called State of Grace, and I did 10 or 12 burn survivor portraits. And let me add that one of them, Shayla, I can't show it to you, it's way back there. Shayla was a 14-year-old burn survivor, and I entered her in a portrait competition at the Smithsonian at the National Portrait Gallery, and she got in. She was one of 50 portraits throughout the whole country, and they told me that Shayla was the first burn survivor portrait to ever show at the National Portrait Gallery. And I got to tell you, when I never felt so good when I told Shayla, her mom, Vicky, and Shayla what happened, and they got in the car and went to that museum, and that whole staff came out and hugged her and met her, and they were all in tears because she never thought. She said, I'll never be anybody now that I'm all burned and damaged, and that made her so happy, like a star for a day. So
Yeah, they're very moving pictures. I was
All right.
looking through them. Now it's not a burn, obviously not a burn person, but the woman in the white
yeah.
to just to your side there. What's the story on that? That's part of another
Okay.
venue.
Okay, so that's an odd piece. Now that piece came about by I met the experience of Chris Bledsoe in like 2015 or 16 or something, right after he had his event. I called Mel Fabregas at Veritas Radio because I heard him interview Chris, and I'm like, wow, this story is great. And I wrote him, and I said, all right, I called him and wrote him, and I said, could you forward Chris Bledsoe my email? He did. And Chris wrote me, and I called him. We started talking, we started becoming friends, and Chris invited me to his home with his family. And I went several times. And as Chris told me his whole story about his now famous story, which is now in that book, UFOs of God, that's been released. Um, Chris told me, Doug, the most important part of that story is the lady. I said, all right, tell me the lady again. He goes, I'm telling you, not the UFOs, not the beings, the lady that came to me and told me what I need to do, that I have a burden. I have to carry this story and have to tell everyone. He goes, I wish someone, maybe you could paint the lady. So I said, all right, well, I mean, I don't really do that kind of art. Like, I'm usually a studio artist that I paint what I see in front of me, but I went ahead and my darling girlfriend at the time, who I met in Germany through the Burn Survivor Project, she was my interpreter. And she came up to me. She goes, "Hi, I'm your interpreter." I'm like, "Oh, I get an interpreter. That's wonderful." Because when I spoke in English, she interpreted in German. We kind of became very, very close. Started dating, and we saw each other for quite a long time, back and forth from Germany to here. And I actually had her model the stance for it. And it's really, if when you go to my website, you'll see the painting at the very bottom. You'll see it clear. It's got a bull running through the woods, which is what Chris described. It's got a little owl in a tree. It's got the tree that was the tree on fire. And then she's floating 3 feet off the ground or 2 feet off the ground like this. She's got a little triangle on her up. I don't know where, let me see. Got a little triangle right here that Chris said was there that you could almost not see. That's on the painting. And I did my best kind of, interpretation of the lady. And that's what that is. It's a big piece too.
It's a beautiful piece. Very nice,
Thank
nicely
you.
done. Um, okay, I'm going to give 5 minutes to if anybody would like to make a comment or a question. We're going to be getting into the UFO aspect of this too in a while. But Stan, would you like to weigh in?
We have a few questions, actually. Have you ever thought about starting summer stock or off Broadway before you move it up to Broadway itself?
Oh, absolutely, Stan. By the way, I know nothing. Don't ask me why I chose this craft, but I know nothing about or have no contacts in the theater business. So
It's
I
very
would,
difficult.
oh, it is. Now let me just say before I go on, I had a producer interested in my show who's connected to Broadway. He was interested in it for 3 years. And I did several iterations of it. And late last year, I really thought we were honing in on something. But I don't think he liked the show. He liked the way it was written. He thought there were some flat spots. He said maybe we could work on it here and there. And then he kind of said a word that was the kiss of death for me because he thought that one of our last conversations with it, he said, we may have to Disneyfy it. So, but
Right.
Stanley, you're very correct. I would love to get, to me, if I could get Hypnotta up on a 100-seat theater, I'd be thrilled.
We do have them here in New Jersey, and they're definitely available, and they're always looking for people like yourself to come up and talk to them. But obviously, you know the system, how the system works.
I,
So you financing, and then you go from there.
yeah.
They-
What would you have before Nick Stanley? Would you have
Sure.
a contact base or anybody that I could talk to
Well,
about?
basically, I would make a phone call here in Long Branch, Repertory Theater in Long Branch,
Yep.
and the gentleman there will definitely, obviously, give you a little information and knowledge, and probably can play people to call to get you up and running.
Yeah,
Okay.
if I could weigh in on this, that's
Yes.
Gabe Barabbas, and he is truly a gentleman, and he's worked very hard to make a very successful theater group there in Long Branch.
Here's the
You're
funny-
talking about Gabe and Susie, right? Yeah.
Here's the funny coincidence.
Yes.
The producer I just talked to is part of the Long Branch Theater.
No
It's good.
coincidence.
It's a good group. Okay.
No coincidences. There you
And
go.
but it's amazing. I don't know why Evan didn't push me a little bit more on Doug. Why don't we get this up on a small theater?
It's more for you to push than them.
Yeah, he had a very big Broadway producer that he had put my work in front of. He also put my music in front of the people who are doing the remake of Tommy, The Who,
Right.
which is coming out. And he said the guy loved the music. He said he thought the music was really good. But Evan kind of backed away. And I happen to know Evan's a great guy. I really liked him, but I wish he would reconsider. But Evan took on the job of producing a new Broadway play. And
Right.
I don't know what the play is. He says I can't tell you about it right now, but that's what he's doing. Now, let me just add this. The thing that I think, and maybe Stan, maybe you can correct me. Maybe this doesn't even matter. The thing that I felt was missing with Evan was he had no feel for UFOs. He had no interest.
There is an interest, but obviously a lot of people don't talk about it. But there was basically like a seminar regarding similar things to it, and he basically booked the place solid for one night. So their interest is out there, except you have to show it to them and make it available to them. Most people won't come out and say, I am interested, but you present it to them, they'll show up.
Would you think that if I took a drive there, made an appointment, took a drive there, brought my demos,
It'll be well worth the trip. Well worth the trip.
Well worth it. Okay.
Right.
Also, the other thing is, it's not that I have that much, but I do have some startup money to get this going. And I've been told by some people that it really makes a difference if you're willing to put some of your own money behind it.
Right. They have a lot of backers also who donate money to the theater. So
Yeah.
I think he'll give you an overview of what's really required for you to get this off the ground.
Sam,
Stan,
are you part of that theater?
New Jersey Repertory Theater. It's in Long Branch. Just go online, you can find it.
Yeah. Are
I've been
you
there many times?
Oh, it's not the Long Branch Theater, is it?
No, the
No,
Repertory
no.
Theater.
Oh, okay. The Long Branch
also
Theater.
called Lumia, I think.
Okay.
Right.
Lumia. Yeah. Matter of fact, Stan, he moved the entire operation down to the school that he bought, didn't he?
I'm not sure. I still think it's at the same location. I
Well,
haven't been there for a
on
while.
Broadway. On
It's on Broadway, right? Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Gabe Barabbas is definitely a guy that you want to talk to.
Who is that? How could you say that name? Or should we do this on email later?
Well, I'll do it on email later on.
Yeah.
Gabe
Okay.
and Susie Barabba, they're the ones that own the theater. He was a surgeon by training,
Right.
but his avocation is theater, and he's been doing it now for probably a good 25 or 30 years. So he's
Okay.
well established. They have some big names that do the readings on his theater in
Right.
the round type thing too. So,
Oh, of that. I've had two table readings, small scale up here, and I had a bunch of literary people from a book club read it who didn't even know it, and every one of them gave me a standing ovation afterwards. And a woman came up to me and she said, "Doug, I can see this." She goes, "I can see this playing all over the world."
There you go.
So that's what I'd like to kind of jumpstart in this conversation, but we can talk about all aspects of.
We're not that far away, so come on down.
Yeah, come on down. Nice day at the shore.
Yeah.
Exactly. Pier Village.
I will do that. Hoboken, what, about an hour and a half drive or something?
About that, yeah.
Oh,
well,
not even that. Hoboken, you're
nothing, yeah.
55 minutes tops.
Well, thank you very much, Stan. I appreciate you mentioning that. Thank you.
Okay, I think Bruce has his hand up. So go ahead, Bruce. Quick one.
Doug, you mentioned that you do studio paintings. That's your preferred method of doing the paintings, correct?
Well, yeah, I've always been a painter that paints from either a model, a sitter, a still life, a portrait, or something rather than an imaginary thing. Although I've done a certain system of work I call dimorphic realism, where I made fish and birds and insects and everything like that in their environment, crossing at just the right moment to create portraits of people.
Okay, thank you for explaining. I was wondering how you did those 100 portraits, either in your studio or from paintings or pictures.
The only way I could do them, obviously, there was no way to access getting a hold of those people. I searched. Sometimes I would find photos. Sometimes I would find a video and freeze a frame, drag it down, and I would go from there.
Did you ever?
Thank you.
Did you ever show the painting to Travis Walton? You
Yes,
did Travis Walton.
I did Travis Walton. He liked it a lot. I did Linda Moulton Howe.
Moulton Howe. Yep.
She loved it. Grant Cameron doesn't like any pictures of himself, but he's a good friend. He liked that. There was somebody that recently died.
Stanton Friedman.
No, no, he Robert David Steele. Anybody know the name Robert David Steele? He was an investigator on 9/11 and all sorts of stuff. He loved this portrait, and he was an ex-CIA guy, and he loved this portrait. He recently passed on. I did Billy Meyer.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
a lot of when you go to my site and you scroll down those 100 portraits, you'll see a lot of people that you'll recognize. So
Okay.
Thank you.
Nick.
thank you. Thanks for asking.
Just wanted to mention that I was part of a group. I was the founding president of a group that's still working on a 2-week summer festival of new actors, playwrights, scenic designers, blah, blah, it goes on and on. And since I'm a gay activist, it's for the gay community. And I was the founding president. The reason I'm bringing that up is that we use a 99-seat theater in the East Village.
Wow.
Just saying, if it comes to a time when you're looking for something in Manhattan, that would be one place to suggest to take a look at that theater. That's all.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. I mean, listen, absolutely every lead right now is something that I'm going to start to look into. Because I had to back off after Evan said, you know what, I just, I got to move on, Doug. I can't do this. And again, I think he just didn't have a feel. If he had a fire for the topic like I do, like if he said, yeah, what a great idea to put this on the stage, then we would have been a go. But I think I understand. I mean, you got to make a lot of money to keep a show open on a theater. It's got to be grueling. And it's, if you take a chance on something that just doesn't hit right or get the right feel, everybody loses their money.
And you could be looking at millions of dollars too.
Also,
and that's always the main complaint that they have.
Just one more thing. A friend of mine had a one-man show, and the way he did it was through the internet. And he had a particular time and date, and you could pay a certain amount of money. It wasn't a lot, but it was enough so you could see his one-man show and then make comments. And that was another way for him to just kind of push it out a little more. This is what I'm working on. It's just another idea that he had a small stage and some props, and he did it that way. But I'm just saying it's another way of putting something in front of people and also recording it so you could say, show people at another date. Just another way of doing that.
Sure. The strength of what I have right now is that all the songs are written and performed and are what you would almost call finished demos. So, so if I was to put on a show, let's just say I got some actors, we got up on stage. No, I could through a PA system play all that music, but take the lyrics out of the cuts that I'm bringing. Just bring the music. They would learn the lyrics and sing right on top of the music, so everything would work.
Absolutely.
So it's like I don't really have to get musicians. We don't have to get like a guy with a piano and everything like that. You know, so there is a way of getting it done. I sometimes thought about an animation, like little animation scenes that are like take 5 scenes of the first act and do something. But animation costs a lot of money too. You know, I don't know. I'm just brainstorming on it, and I really appreciate everybody making these comments because you know, maybe we can all like have a group email and anyone and continue it going with contacts.
One more thing to suggest to you, and I've used this for many years, is sometimes I have projects that I would not be able to do in Manhattan because the prices are sky high. I'm talking about everything from posters. I wanted a Disney poster for something from a puppeteer that was working on a project. I've done some songs myself and things, and I've used a group called Fiverr, Fiverr.
I
Have you
know
heard?
it.
They are worldwide, and I've
Yeah.
worked with people in different countries,
Yeah.
and I've been very pleased with the results. So I'm just saying, for some things you might be needing in the future, take a look at that website, and it's very meticulously of what is being offered, and the prices are affordable.
You know, I have that on my bookmark, Fiverr.
Okay, then you
So I
got
have
that.
it here, and I've seen it, and I almost used it. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to be done. So, hey, Joe, you don't have any chance of actually didn't work out that song problem, did you?
Oh, the song problem.
Don't work on it now, because if you didn't get any further, I mean, I could play it on my system, but you wouldn't be able
Sure,
to.
I can share. I'll share it with you. I can share. If you want to try bringing it up on your system,
How does that happen?
all I do is add you to give you the share.
Oh,
And then you go into Zoom and click share, and then open up whatever you want to open up. Problem that I have, I couldn't find the audio component.
I see. Well, I have the
So,
video here. I just don't want to mess up either. Um, so let's see if I go to
it's a friendly audience.
We're very friendly.
let's see.
We don't
Okay.
bite. We don't bite.
No, I noticed. Let me see if I go to share, not the singer share, but the share.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I see desktop one, and um, is that me?
Yeah, I'm not seeing it
Oh
here.
yeah. Okay,
So,
so I see desktop one. Now what would I do now?
well, find the file that you want to open.
Okay,
It's an
find it.
audio file, MP4 or
Yeah. All right. Do you hear it?
no.
Okay. Open it where? Open it on my desktop at home or
Yeah. Oh, just open it on your desktop. Is there video too, or is it
yeah, it's
just
a video.
okay? Well, would see.
Or do I have to open it on the entire
Well, you open it first, then go to share, and then you can click. I think click on it. Okay, something's starting. I see your desktop.
okay. Hold
Okay,
on.
now start the video. Okay, I
See it?
see it. Okay, we see it. Yep.
Even Einstein struggled
There we go.
to solve this puzzle. Having a knack for numbers and math, brilliantly brilliant, always on the right. His head, his a knock on the door. Now enter Neil's board with no calculations and a little bit more. His new sensation, his new equation. Nothing is certain, be it sky or the ground. Reality's fuzzy till we see what we found. All is entangled and the thought is profound. That's why Einstein struggled to solve this puzzle. Now are you telling me that nothing is real? Not a door or a wheel, or a fish or a seal. The sun's not sunny. There's no sweet in honey. And as I walk along, put my feet on the ground, there's not even a foot or a ground to be found. And gum's not gummy, and cake's not crummy. Nothing is certain. Listen, my friend, God's the creator. You'll see in the end. Doesn't play dice. Not now, not then.
Okay. Okay. It was a little garbled,
Nothing
but
in
I
this
think we got.
world is real.
What's that?
I was going to say it's a little garbled, but the music kind of comes out,
If it,
and you
if,
can hear. I don't know why it fades in and fades out there a little bit.
if it's not legible, I'd rather not ruin it by having people
Yeah.
hear it not legible. So keep it, shut it off.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So
A
Just
suggestion.
okay. Stop the share.
A suggestion might be to email me the files, everybody the files, so we could hear them as they should be heard, and then do another Zoom after we hear the music.
yeah, I sent them already on that email,
Yeah.
by the way. I sent everything on.
Oh,
So they're all
And
they're all there?
It plays beautifully. It's
Yeah.
a good high quality recording. I'm
I
just
didn't
not sure
realize
why
they were
the
there.
share is. Yeah, we're having
now
problems with share.
where did my oh, there's my Zoom picture. Hold on, let's get it big. I'm on
Okay.
back.
Now all you have to do is stop your share.
Okay. Share, stop.
There we
There
go.
you go.
Ding, ding.
I'm getting good at this.
Gonna be an expert by the time you get off tonight.
Anyway,
But
all right.
hear it like it should be heard, and then do another part 2
Yeah.
of this.
That would be great. We could play a number of the songs, and you guys could all be all prepared with them,
There you
and
go.
do it again. Okay.
With comments, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that would be a way to be
Yeah.
fair about the music.
Yeah, if you can't hear it and you don't understand the lyrics are pretty funny, and it's a debate between Niels Bohr and Einstein about what is real. What is real? Einstein's like, give me a break. The moon isn't there unless I'm looking at it, and that kind of stuff. So,
Doug, do you have the
Yeah.
setup before each song of what you just said? You set it up and then the song plays. Do you have the setups and then the song?
I can do that easily. Yes.
That would be the way to go.
Yeah. Yeah. A brief description about like what this song's about.
There you go. And then
Yeah.
who's singing, and then boom, the song. And
Yeah.
how many songs are there? How many are there?
I have at the moment, I have 19 songs on.
Wow. Wow.
So it's a lot of work and a lot of
Wow.
music. 2 of them specifically for my 2 characters in the CIA. And then there's a triumphant, beautiful song at the end called Open Prayer, which is a spirit angel comes down. She holds the spirit of a character earlier in the show that is lost. And she sings this stunningly beautiful song, like rallying the people of Earth to like get it together, And it's a really, really beautiful. It actually reminds me. Does anybody remember The Outer Limits?
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Okay, the first episode, the very first one, which was called, it was like a being that came through a television. He pulled it through the television and it walked through the streets, and it was like electric and just a great, great, great episode. And at the very end, he gives a talk to everybody. It says, you people are still like violent and you don't know how to stop shooting at everything you see. And it's like kind of like a little bit inspired by that. It's called The Galaxy Being from The Outer Limits.
Hmm.
Okay. I noticed Bruce shared a chat session talking about Barbara Hartwell. Uh, Doug, are you familiar with Barbara Hartwell?
No, not really.
Okay, Bruce, briefly want to explain who she is?
Yes, she contacted me back in 1991, 92, and wanted to know if I would be on her public broadcasting station show showing what I had photographed in the night sky for 91 and 92. And I went on their show in January, February, I believe, of 93. And then when I went back out into the field, I thought this was just being invited onto a TV show. That was the extent of it. She shows up in the middle of the field or in the road. And I said, well, what are you doing here? She said, I'm investigating what you're investigating. And she told me that she had been with the CIA and that this was one of their methods of gathering information. And she was curious enough that she wanted to go out and do her own investigation.
Wow.
And that was bizarre. I mean, I knew her for about 10 years. And yeah, she even quit the CIA, if you can do that. She said her whole family were members of the company, and she told me a lot of stuff that's going on with them.
I never knew that you could quit the CIA.
Yeah.
Neither did I.
Well, actually, the exempt agencies they encourage nepotism.
Yeah.
Because of all the the top secret clearances that you have to get. Once they've done you, they've also done your immediate family and probably most of your friends as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So instead of spending a lot more money, they would rather bring in family members and friends. The FBI was like that as well. So, and they
Well,
all
the
kind of do
Hartwell
it. It's
family, I
cheaper.
have a family photograph of the Hartwell family, and it's amazing how many people were involved
Wow.
in that.
And you
Okay.
haven't spoken to her?
Okay. I guess we're into the UFO mode now, Doug. Are you game for it?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Let me start this off. First of all, some of those shots that you took from Hoboken, I believe your apartment in Hoboken, you shot a couple of them,
Yeah.
flyovers.
So let me give you my UFO history of shooting these things. Is that, once I started studying all these UFO stories, and once, obviously, when the internet came out, and you didn't have to go to a library, and in the comfort of your home, you could start finding things. Little by little, I got into the UFO community, started to meet people, and one of the great people that I met was Grant Cameron, and Grant shared his Charlie Red Star story. I don't know if anybody knows Grant's story of Charlie Red Star, but that's how Grant Cameron got involved in ufology, like many, many years ago. And it was such a riveting sighting, and it had such verification and so many people that were witnessing it at the time that he changed his life from going into like a regular business college or whatever he was going to do to that. When I met him, I started to say, this makes sense to me. I'm always looking up at the sky. I love the stars and everything. And I'm like, so I ended up realizing that once you start looking up enough, you start to see things. You got to, most people are looking at the curb when they're walking down the street. I'm like, my head's bent back, and I bought some good cameras. I bought a camera that I turned into infrared only. I sent it out and had it sent back. It was infrared only. And I remember seeing a small little thing in the sky sitting there that wasn't with the other camera without the infrared. So like one with infrared, one not. So there you go. There you go. This picking up something, right? And I started to get a real hunger for always looking up and always doing this. And I started to see things. Now, this is an interesting part of the conversation. Is I've started to think more and more and more that a so-called consciousness, my willingness to see things and my attention to see things was helping me see things that, and when that gets shut down or shut off, or when my mind is on other things and I'm not in that groove, I don't see them anymore. But in the height of me looking and always looking, and I would capture things in Hoboken. So one of the most amazing things that I caught was this. I came home from ice hockey in the morning, and it was about 10 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning, and in the kind of northern sky, I noticed a bright white star out during the day, and I'm like, "What is a star doing out? That's crazy." And a friend of mine was nearby, and I said, listen, keep an eye on that. I'm going to run in, get my camera, and come out. So I just wanted to make sure it didn't fly away or something. It was very high, and I came out, and I had a hold on tripod, like a single pod, not a tripod, whatever you would call it, on a single leg.
A
And
monopod.
the monopod, there you go. I knew that was there somewhere. And then I had my camera, and I balanced it. I took a whole bunch of photographs. Now, it only looked like a singular object from my eye, but I saw clouds moving past it. It wasn't moving, it had no sound, and it didn't seem to belong there. And it stayed pretty still for 15 or so minutes as the clouds, it wasn't a very cloudy sky. And then I brought them all upstairs and I loaded them into the camera and I started to enlarge them. And I'm like, oh my God, there's like, this thing is configuring in a whole bunch of different positions. And it would look like all together, and then it looked like about 6 or 8 cubes by themselves, and then they pulled together, and then they got in a line. And I'm like, what in God's name is this? So I'm studying this thing, and I ended up downloading the photographs, and several days later, this was amazing. I couldn't believe this happened. I emailed them to a bunch of people. I think Grant and maybe some people I knew. And lo and behold, no exaggeration, in Hoboken, New Jersey, a Black Hawk helicopter right over my building. I was like, holy crow. I mean, I could hit this rock. It was that close. And I'm like, I've never seen that before in my town, and I've yet to see it again. And I heard it, and I'm like, what is going on? And I went outside in my back parking area, and there it was right above me. And I got in my little Mini Cooper car because I wanted to leave and go to get coffee. Pulled out, went downtown a mile away, and when I was sitting there, the helicopter was there. And so somebody, so figure that out. Somebody knew that I sent an email from my IP address. So, I mean, when you start to think it through, it's like, what kind of crazy surveillance is that? Go ahead.
I
Just
was
a quick
just going to
question.
say,
I'm sorry.
oh, go ahead, Nick.
Just a quick question. When you were photographing it, were you inside the window or were you outside with the camera?
I was outside on the street with the camera on the side of my building.
Okay, and I know instances where people have been outside, in one case on top of their four-story
Yeah.
apartment building, and within minutes, that happened to some of my members. That same exact thing happened, and that was like wham. So they were outside on top of a building, and boom, they were on them very quickly, very quickly. So interesting that that's not the only case of that.
Well, what's amazing, it's a great point you make. What's amazing is, I mean, who is notifying who and how fast?
Yeah.
How is something like that being noticed right away?
Yeah.
Oh, I've often think about, now there's been no ramifications, and I've seen a lot more. When I shared the screen, is there any way, Joe, that you can share the images I sent you, or is that going to be a pain in the neck?
What the video?
No, not the video. Just if you look down in your emails, you'll see the one I just described. It's an assemblage of UFOs, blue sky.
Okay, was it the last email
Yeah,
that you
like
sent?
last or next to the last. Yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can find it here.
See if you can find it.
Go ahead, keep talking, guys.
Okay. But so there was that. There was 3 or 4 others that I documented to really, and now by the way, I had a UFO investigating team. I never been able to find these people again since, which is very interesting. It's almost like they weren't real. But I had a UFO investigating team come, take all the notes, listen to me. I described everything, and they gave a report, and the report said at the end of the day, they said unknown. They checked out the airfield where the Hindenburg
Yep,
was,
I've been there.
New Jersey. Yeah, they checked out that. They checked out all the air traffic, Teterboro, Newark. They checked the satellite readings. They checked where the space center was, the space station, because they thought maybe the space station is somehow showing in the daytime. I don't know.
Doug, did they do this independently, or who were they working for? Did they say?
I never knew. I thought it was I can't remember the name of who this was, but I remember trying to find him again and never being able to find him.
I mean, if these sightings are being tracked by NORAD and others, the military is already aware that something is happening, and they're probably sending helicopters out to watch for people who are standing outside with cameras.
Maybe you know what? Maybe so, but it was a riveting event. I mean, listen, if you can't do it, I can bring that up on my computer.
Oh, I'm
You
okay.
didn't
I've
see?
got okay. Let's see, 6 pearlescent orbs.
Yeah.
Travis Walton,
Okay,
Doug, and Chris.
the pearlescent orb is one, and then there's a UFO assemblage. It says it's like 6 or 8 photos all together in an assemblage.
Okay.
I sent them both to you on that one email.
Okay. Let me see. I'm going to bring up this one here. I think.
You know, Joe, Susan Johnson says that whenever she has a sighting outside her house in Miami, the Black Hawks come flying over her house.
Yeah, I believe it. We
There
see
you
we've had a lot of that activity here in New Jersey, especially over the past couple of years. I was thinking that Doug, the group that came in to investigate, were they MUFON?
No,
They weren't MUFON.
no.
Did they
So that
identify? Did they identify who they were with?
they did, but I can't remember. It was so long ago, and I wasn't taking I wasn't paying attention the way I should have. I was like, yeah, sure, guys, come on down, tell me what you think. Maybe I can find in old emails on an old computer. But the top image, okay, see the top image with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 images?
Okay,
Yep.
yeah. A matter of fact, do you see what I'm sharing right now?
Yeah,
We
this.
we can see it. This
Okay.
Okay.
Let me
So
shrink it down a little bit.
all 6 of those, I'm able to move this. How can I move it?
Well, you can't. Want me to?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
See,
Is that the one you want? Curses on it.
all 6 of these images that you're seeing there are all the same image standing still.
incredible.
All the same image. Nothing moved.
Wow.
I mean, I love the one on the top left that's like giving me the finger. That one.
Yeah, does look that way, doesn't it?
But when you think about the Tic Tacs of today, what everybody's doing with the Tic Tacs, okay, look at these. They're like roundish squares. They're
Yep.
like roundish squares. So there's that one. Then the one below it, all of a sudden it all aligns like not that one. Go to the nope, the other one to the left. Yeah, that one. Look at that. They all align in some sort of like configuration with 2 things on the side. And then go across in the middle. Okay, this one, then it's like that configuration, but then go straight above you. Now, I wasn't moving the camera, and even if I blurred these images, I can't see how that could become what these are. Like that looks like a little feather.
Yeah, it does.
And then there's the one on the top right one. Yeah. So those are the 6 things that all showed as the singular white star in the sky. Now,
Wow.
this is a totally different sighting, the one below.
Okay, interestingly, we have a nuclear power plant down in Forked River. Okay, it's down in Ocean County, and it's the exact same nuclear power plant as Fukushima, same
Right.
design, built by the same company. Well, they took it down because they were concerned that there was going to be a problem with that one as well. And over the past year and a half, there have been massive amounts of UFO sightings over and around that power plant. And somebody I know, her son and granddaughter, took about 70 photographs over a period of about 7 or 8 months. And some objects look very similar to these.
Really?
Yeah, like I said, 70 of them. I also have one that's kind of interesting. It even looks like a portal above one of the objects. And like I said, it's weird. And then about 2 months ago, all the activity stopped.
Mm.
And I've had multiple people, for whatever reason, they contact me. And I've been trying to get, some of the investigators out here to look at it because it's very compelling. And even over in Keyport, you're familiar with Keyport?
Not really, no.
Okay, it's right there if you cross from Staten Island and
Okay.
then into New Jersey. Keyport's about 10 miles from there. It's on the bay. It's right on the bay. We had 4 of those bright orange red objects flying directly over a group of us that were having dinner outside. It was like in May of about 2015.
Wow.
So this place is a hotbed and has been for some time. And
Nuclear,
the helicopters, there's a lot of activity that comes out of McGuire Air Force Base too.
well,
So
nuclear power plants and missile silos and all things nuclear seem to be very much of interest to these
oh
things.
yeah, yep.
Now, this bottom one, the bottom one with the pearlescent colors,
Mm-hmm.
this was one of the most marvelous things I've seen. If you center that a little better, maybe you can bring it up or something. Let me see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a little. Okay, like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting on the church steps across from my street. It was a crystalline, beautiful, clear sky. And I can't explain this to you, but I got my camera ready and I went and sat on the steps and I knew something was coming. It's hard to explain. I said, I know I'm going to see something today. I'm sitting there. There's a lot of dust and there's a lot of like little things flying around and insects. It was clear as a bell. And then all of a sudden from over New York City towards me, I see this little white dot getting closer and closer and closer, a little bit bigger till it gets right above me. And I took several photographs of it. And when it sat right above me, I got 1 or 2. This was the best photograph. It's just sitting above me. I looked down, excuse me, and I adjusted my camera and I looked up and it was gone. It didn't fly away. It was just gone. And as far as I'm intuitively told in my heart, that was an angel or a being, a spirit being that just visited me or wanted me to know we know, or we know that you know, or whatever it is, but you're tapped in, you're centered. And I had the most wonderful, uplifting feeling for quite a while after I saw that. And look at it. I mean, it was huge too. I mean, it looked small from the eye, but when I brought it in a little bit, it was a pretty big item. What would that be?
Oh, it's
When
like
I have,
go ahead, Nick.
oh, a quick thing. When I was looking and then saw a UFO, I always have had the feeling that they knew I was there, or in a group, we were there. And in
Yeah.
some cases, they acknowledged it. One time they stopped over us and absolutely stopped their path. for about 30 seconds and then continued. And another time, looking at something from a distance, and all of a sudden it started coming and it went directly over our head, which means they knew we were there.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel threatened, and I didn't feel anguish at all. I felt a sense of joy that we were being acknowledged in a very peaceful way. So for what that's worth, I want to share that.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you, Nick.
I felt the same way, without a doubt. I felt the same way, and so I mean, I guess we could all kind of agree with the fact that if we saw one real, verifiable, undeniable, like you can't prove it's not
Right.
Object that was not from our planet, if we only had one, then we would know that there's life somewhere else. We'd only need to verify one. So we have so many to choose from, so many encounters, but they're so mired in doubt and in excuses and in all sorts of other things. And but these are some of the ones that I got in the day. Joe, I had sent you 2 videos. I don't know if you'll be able to bring them.
Yeah, I have the one. As long as there's no sound with them, we'll be okay.
Yeah, the sound doesn't matter. They're now I'll explain. Bring one up, and then I'll tell everyone what it is.
Yep. Let me see if I can find it here.
Doesn't matter which one. They were both in Mexico.
Yeah, let's see. Obfuscation. That's not it. Okay, I'm going to have to go into my email here. Hold on. Okay, still looking. Okay, Doug.
Doug,
Yes.
I put my URL to my table of contents webpage in chat if you're interested.
I'm 100% interested. Let me go look. Chat. Okay, there's 4 chat in there.
It's
Okay.
AOPTOC.
Okay.
That's not it.
It's going to keep you busy for a while.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. AOPTOC Sunstar
Right. Solutions. I've taken tens of thousands of pictures of these things. I've documented 140 of them close encounters.
Wow. Wow. Have you
And
seen any, did you see any like that configuration one that I just showed?
Oh, yeah, stuff like that too. But most of them were structured craft, like triangles, diamonds, and stuff like this.
Wow.
That they would dive into the ground and come up out of the ground. And that says that they have technology that we don't have.
Yeah.
But I do know that we do have a lot of this technology at Stewart Air Force Base, which is in the valley. I photographed a C-5 coming in after it had been circling an area where one of these UAP had disappeared. And as it came in, I was at the end of the runway and I was taking pictures and it disappeared. And I kept on moving my camera, thinking that I just didn't center my camera, and it reappeared and landed a C-5 in about 1,000 feet. How is that possible? Okay. And it was black when it was reappeared and then turned camouflage. And the pilot saw me taking pictures of, and suddenly sirens started blaring, lights started flashing. MP Jeep came screaming out the access road to the runway and stopped, and they looked at me through binoculars. And then a state trooper came up and wanted to look at my driver's license, and he said, "You're not allowed to take pictures." And I said, "What do you mean?" You have to have permission to take pictures. So I went over to the tower, and the one of the head of the FAA was just coming out of the tower at that time, and I stopped him and I asked him, "Do I have to get pictures, the photograph the planes here at this international airport?" He says,
Okay, I've got the video here, so
Okay.
let
He
me
said,
get
go
this.
out the store, turn right, and take all the photographs you want.
They try to scare you, intimidate you.
Right.
Let's see. Okay, so hold for a second. Okay.
Okay,
Now, let me explain what happened. I'm on the rooftop in my place in Playa del. Is that just pictures or is that a video?
it's a video.
Okay. I'm on a rooftop in Playa del Carmen, and it's dusk. It's almost not seeable. It's almost dark. It's twilight. And I'm shaky because I have this, it's heavy in my hand because I got tired, and I have a little recorder on top of it, and it's a night vision Luna type thing. And I started filming. So now think this through. You can run it if you can, Joe.
Okay.
Maybe you can get that smaller so that we can read the whole thing.
Oh, it's too big.
Yeah, you got it like enlarged.
Um,
Okay,
It's
well,
the right size for my screen.
all right, let it go. All right, there. Now watch this thing. Now, just to give it, now it's pitch black. This is only being seen because it's night vision.
Oh, wow.
It's pitch black. There's no
That's good
lights,
night vision.
night blinking. Yeah. And to the right, everybody's right looking at this, is the ocean. And I remember there was strong wind coming off the ocean. Now, hopefully, we're going to get a. I don't know if this is formatted. Oh, yeah, maybe this is good. Here we go. What happened? Okay, hold on. For some reason, it's not, it's like clipped. It's only showing part of the video.
yeah,
Looks
this
like
is
dual spheres. Is that correct?
It almost looks like two donuts next to each other or two spheres.
Yep,
Right.
yep, yeah.
But okay, now there's a tower. Now, yeah, it's not quite format. Okay, there's the tower. Now, hold on. Now, hopefully it's going to show itself to come near that. What the heck is it? Okay, it's just not formatted properly.
yeah. I just brought up full screen, so
Bring it down to the small screen.
Oh, it's actually bigger now.
Try to get the smallest screen you can, or
uh, that's the smallest screen I have. Um, I guess I could try shrinking it this way.
is it? Is that how's that?
Smaller,
Do
bigger.
you see? Do you see it near the tower?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Mhm.
Okay, Joe, go back to the beginning and play it again. Okay,
Okay.
yeah, go way back. There you go to to like the beginning. Okay, all right, that's a still. Now let play it just like that. Hopefully everyone will be able to see it. So picture to the right, very strong wind. Can everybody see all that text?
Yes.
Okay, great. Object was poor area of a town. It held stationary near the tower, moved against the wind. So, okay, you see it?
Yep, yep.
See those? Okay, that's night vision. It's hard to believe that it was pitch black right there. And what is this thing doing? So somebody said, well, it's a kite. I said, a kite at
No,
night with no lights?
no.
And then now watch what it does. It's going to kind of approach this. Now the wind is blowing very hard from the right. Now it should be, yeah, it should be showing more. Okay, it's going to come down near the tower. Watch, it's going to move down towards the tower. Here it comes.
When was this taken?
Here it comes. Wait 1 second. It's ready to move down toward. It's because it stills when it comes down near the tower. Here it goes. There it
There it
goes.
goes.
Okay. There it goes past that. Now watch it come straight down. Straight down. Now, if the wind is blowing hard from the right and it's a kite, it should be blowing to the left. But now watch,
Absolutely.
It goes perfectly straight up, like a straight line. Can you imagine someone's holding a string and that thing's going straight up?
No, no
and
way.
and it goes up to the height of the clouds. It keeps going. And we don't have to show the whole thing, but you'll see, wait till it comes back down around again. So I'm watching. Now, the second you see some pixelating up high, that's because I'm hitting clouds. Let's see, what hasn't happened yet. Okay, there it is, way up there.
There it is. Yeah.
It's way up higher than several of the lengths of the tower. It starts to come back down. And there it comes again. And now it comes across. And now it stops and it goes perfectly straight up, like as if you had a ruler. Now, what could that be?
What's it doing?
2013.
2013. Very
Yeah.
interesting.
Now there's like height of clouds, bird passes, I think, somewhere.
Yeah, it just went to the below it.
Yeah. And it's basically that. I mean, I watched it for quite a while and held it and tried to hold on to that as best possible. Now that those towers were about a half a mile away from my rooftop, or maybe a mile. And that part of town was so poor. And like, what technology would be flying over that area? And the thing is that no one would have ever seen it unless I had night vision.
Doug,
Question.
where
That's
was
hard
the
to-
location exactly? From, say, Mexico City, was it to the south of Mexico
Oh, no, no.
City?
It's
North?
like on the coast, kind of where it's like across from Cozumel on the Yucatan Peninsula. It's right in Playa del Carmen.
Playa del
Mexico.
Carmen.
Playa
Okay.
del Carmen, Mexico. Yeah.
Question, Doug. When you had this, you were hand holding the camera. It wasn't on a tripod. So my question is, when you were viewing it, was it doing that, or was it very smooth?
It's very smooth. That was my arms that were making it do that.
Right. But
Believe me, it was moving smooth. But like, the two discs looking things, it
Yep.
would go like, and then, you know what I mean? Then back. Sometimes they'd be like this. Sometimes they would be like that, but they moved like that. And then they went way up
straight
to
up.
the height of clouds. Now, there's no way anyone is going to convince me that's a kite.
No, it wasn't.
Forget the kite. The kite theory is gone. Bye-bye. No.
Bye-bye, kite.
Here is one. It's 8:31, but if you want to keep it going, we can keep going for a while.
Well, what about there's one other one that I sent you. One other one that you have on there with that. There was one other in Mexico, large object in Mexico. Do you see it? It's on that email.
Hold on. Large object in Mexico.
Doug, I put my YouTube channel, Bruce Cornett, and in return for you sharing, there are 39 or 40 videos of a lot of amazing stuff.
I am marking it now. Hold on. And I'm going to put that along with your Sunstar Solutions.
Good.
The difference is when someone says, I think I believe in them. And when you see it, it's like, I know they're there.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Not believing. Somebody say, I believe in it could be.
Yeah.
But when you see it, it's not believing. It's I know that there's something.
Now, it doesn't mean I know what they are. It doesn't
Right.
mean I know what it is, but it means I simply know that there are things in the sky that are not supposed to be there.
Absolutely.
That's all there is to it. And the UFO, I always try to remind people, a UFO is an unidentified flying object. Doesn't mean a little green man or a space being. It could be, but I don't know.
Okay.
Can't find it, Joe. It was
Now, I downloaded. It was one of the earlier emails, or
it should have been. I thought it was with the one that you just showed, so it should have been.
it was in that one. Is one of
Should be. It should be.
on.
It should say large object and rooftop.
Okay.
Bruce, can you tell me what night vision device that he used to take a picture of that UFO at night?
Oh, hi, Susan.
Hi,
Good to see
hi,
you.
Bruce. Hi, Bruce.
Hi, Susan.
Yeah, I've been
I'll tell
trying to
you
get
what
it.
it was. Hold on.
Is it a new night vision camera, or was
It was
this
an
not
older
with it?
one, and I'll tell you what it was. Hold on. Hold
Was
on.
it a was it a Sony?
I think I have it here. Hold on.
I want another night vision camera. I lost mine.
Lost it? How do you mean, Bruce? It lost it.
It was stolen
Oh, I'm
out of
sorry
my
to hear
house,
that.
along with my computer.
Where may I ask where it was when it was
I was living in Red Bank at the time.
Red Bank, right?
Right.
From your home?
Home. Yeah.
Okay.
See, there you go. That's
Oh,
scary.
find out.
It's an
Well,
older
and
one.
even worse, it was my um, stepson who stole it.
It's a
Oh,
Yukon,
oh, Yukon.
a Yukon night vision.
There you go. Where
Yukon
did you buy
night
it
Oh,
from
vision.
binocular
the
night vision.
manufacturer?
Wow.
Yeah.
Manufacturer,
Yeah.
you bought it
And
from?
I was like, because my arms were
Right,
tired.
right.
I was like,
Is it,
Are those sold
Okay,
on
I think
eBay?
I'm losing control here, everybody.
Oh,
One at a time, first of all.
okay.
Second of all, I am having problems getting my email back.
Doug, does that still work?
What,
It's
my
not-
Yukon
email?
is there Yukon night vision binoculars or is that a camera?
no, it's binoculars. And then what I had was I had a little, I'm trying to remember the name of it, was only this big, an eagle eye. It was called an eagle eye recorder. And what I did was I connected it to the top of this. It's a little tiny eagle eye. It was very cool. And I would jack out of that into that and then press record and look through here. And that's how I did it.
Wow. That's cool.
Oh,
Susan, I've seen a pair of that I believe with the camera built into it, so
Yeah.
you could record what you were seeing. I have seen that. If I find it again, I'll let you know.
Well, I have a new system now. That's an old system. I have a really new one, and that's it. I have something called a Luna, Luna, night vision, and it's beautiful. And I have a, let me see if I can bring it out. Hold on. Joe, I hope you can find that.
Yeah, well, yeah, I hope I can too. I'm going through all my different emails here. Song video. But that should have been the last one you sent,
Ah,
right?
yes, the tripod.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, so this is the Luna night vision right here. Okay. And this is the Lilliput screen. And that's my new setup. So on the roof, what I'm filming, I don't even have to look through here. I just do this and I see through the whole screen. I see the whole thing. It's really good
Where did,
setup.
where did you get that equipment?
Luna.
Luna.
Luna, yes. Luna night vision. I got it from B&H Photos in Manhattan.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure I bought it there. Now I'm going to say something. I don't want to. This material, something sticky on this thing. But anyway, I don't need this anymore. It's a battery pack. So you would have the 6 batteries in it, and I would have a charger for the batteries. I would charge them, and it pops in. And if somebody gets then it has a jack, and it jacks to the little recorder. So that's how it works. And I really don't need it. If anybody really wanted it that bad, we work something out, I would give it to them.
Yeah, let me know. I might be interested.
It's sticky for some reason. I don't know why, but for some reason,
I can
whatever.
let my cat lick it.
Yeah.
maybe you use duct tape or something to steady it sometime, something like that, maybe?
I don't know what. I think it had to do with the material that they made at the time over a period of time, either broke down. But I actually tried something like alcohol and then lacquer thinners, and it still didn't clean it. I don't know why.
Wow, wow.
We'll talk about that, okay?
Okay,
Okay.
Doug, I can't find it. I have about 6 or 7 emails and I just can't find it in any of them.
Hold 1 second. Hold on. I'm going to see something here. Let me go to sent. Let me pull this up. Sent. Uh, okay, hold on. I see that. I see that. Doug and Travis Walton. Do you see that? Doug and Travis Walton. Joe, thanks.
Yeah, I did see that, but now I'm not seeing it. Problem is, I have about 2,000 emails that I have to sit through here.
Even Einstein struggled. Oh, okay. Hold on. Large object. I got it. Okay. So, Joe, I'm going to send it to you again right now.
Okay.
So the newest email that comes in is the one. All right.
All right.
Hold on.
I am looking for it.
Hold on. Forward. Okay. And let's get everything else off of there so you don't get confused. And send. Okay, so you should be getting it unless the speed of light has changed.
They say it's going faster.
Yeah, because we're entering the quickening.
That's right. Yeah, it hasn't gotten here yet. Still looking.
All right.
There might have been a traffic jam.
Well, CIA, they're intercepting it, looking at it, and then sending it forward.
Yep, that's right.
Nothing would surprise us. Nothing.
But this one I showed to one of the key friend that I have that I prefer not really mentioning. And great guy, though, very fascinating person. One of the smartest people I've ever met in my life, if not the smartest. But he looked at it and he was like, he was perplexed. He was really perplexed about it. He was perplexed about all my sightings. And he made a comment to me once. He said, most everything out there is garbage. You got to get you have to understand where this is coming from. This is coming from a person who works with the agency. But I asked him, is the phenomena real? And he said, yeah. But he said, there's so much nonsense out there that it would take a miracle to sift through it all. Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
All right.
All
All right, let
right.
me see if I can share it.
Now this will be on my rooftop. And I was just looking around with the same setup, the same Yukon. Okay, yeah, there we go. Hit play.
Yep. Can see it.
So picture this. There's all the stars. Now look at this thing. This thing is directly above me, but not seeable with the naked eye.
Wow.
Not at all seeable.
Looks like plasma too.
It's just moving. It's a ball above me and it's moving steadily slow. It's going out towards the ocean. So the wind is coming in. It's going out towards the ocean. And yet it's, I think there's something weird with the formatting because I had it pretty much, but they'll give you an idea. See? So you can see how slow it's moving in comparison to the stars. And it made no sound. It made nothing. And I would never have known it was there. But when I looked up, there it is. What a surprise. I kept the camera on it and I kept filming it. And it's going to go out towards these trees, towards the end of my condo unit. What would that have been and moving so slow?
There are little lights around it, orbs that are tracking with
I
it.
think
Oh
those are
yeah.
stars.
Yeah. I can see that. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Just one thing to know is that there were a lot of insects.
Oh,
There were a lot of insects that night, and my camera was probably picking up some of the bugs and the fireflies and the things flying around. Not all of them, but I basically go by the stars, and you can see the stars, and you can see it slowly moving past them, and then at the very end, you'll see some trees come in line, and give you
Doug, what type camera did you use for this again?
same thing. The Yukon, the same Yukon as I used for the
night vision.
yeah, the Yukon night vision.
Okay.
And then watch, it will just about end, but you'll start to see some of the trees and There's some more stars as it's getting a little farther away. But what is moving so slow? There's some
There you
trees.
go. Yep.
Yep. And there's more trees, and it's going to kind of reach the tree line, and then it was going to go behind the tree line, and that was it.
What
And this
prompted
is
you to take this video?
I would, you know what? See, I'm playing around with the focus, trying to get it focused. I don't know. I mean, I was looking around and I said, let me look straight up. And I caught it. If I didn't look straight up, I never would have seen it.
Wow.
okay. Now
Yep,
there's
they're watching you, Doug. They were watching you.
I hope they know a producer because I like to get.
Ah,
okay. Actually, interestingly, here's another picture. Are you seeing this?
yes.
Okay, now this was one of the 70 shots that were taken down there at the nuclear power plant.
Wow.
It's striking, could be a flare, a lens flare, but there were other objects that were like the dumbbell, the double, just like you showed in yours.
Mhm.
And they were there. Now they were taken with an iPhone. Okay, the iPhone 3 or 4, I think, and they got about 70 pictures. I wish they had a good camera and some night vision to really get a look at these things.
Well, iPhones are pretty good.
Yeah, but the night ones would have liked to have seen some of the things that they were able to, you know, might have been able to get with the night vision camera.
There was another little UFO I saw that I called there was another UFO I call the manta ray, and that's another thing that's quite. Let me see if I can find it real quick, and if I can, I'll email it to you, and we'll do the same thing.
Okay.
Uh, let's see.
Doug, I
Yes.
took hundreds of pictures of the manta ray in New York. That's one of the main craft.
Oh, that's great. I didn't know that. So let me
Yeah,
send you.
when you'll see the videos of it, it's amazing.
Oh, well, I'm going to be checking out all your stuff because that's amazing. Because I just named it the manta ray because that's what it looked like to me. I didn't know there was
So
a.
the one that I photographed looks like that. It has a pair of lights out at the sides. That would be the wingtips if it were a fixed wing aircraft, and they rotate. And one was coming at me and Barbara Hartwell in 2000 in May, and it flew directly over us and turned on those searchlights and illuminated us. And then the searchlights rotated forward, and you can hear us screaming, "My God, what in the world is that?" And
Wow.
then I realized it with the pattern of the lights around it, it looked like a kite. And I called it the manta ray.
All right. Well, I'll show you this, and you tell me if this is in the ballpark of what you're talking about. I call it this. Now it was very high, and it was a miracle that I even saw it. All right, let's send it now. Okay, I just sent it, so you should be getting it.
Okay.
But you're sending it to chat?
No,
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 sending it
I,
to me and I'm going to share it.
I sent it in
Okay.
an email. You can put it up. It's just a still, but it was so high in the sky, but I had such keen eyes and I was like looking around. There's no way anyone would have seen this. It was like a piece of pepper, like that small, way up in the sky. I'm like, what is that thing moving through the sky? It didn't belong there. It didn't match. Nothing matched. And with the iPhone, I started to film it. I took a little movie. And the clearest picture I could get out of that movie is this picture. So when you see it, it's going from bottom right to upper left. Left. It's traveling that way. It's got two spikes out the front.
Interesting.
Okay, got it.
All right. Tell me if this is what you meant, Bruce.
There you go.
Oh my goodness. Susan, are you looking at this?
Yes, I am. Wait.
Is that
God.
the one you
Wait.
flew in?
Yeah, I am. I saw it.
You saw this, Susan?
It's sort of odd because I saw one like March 29th, and or like it could have been April 29th, but but it looked like the letter C going forward on its nose, and it was a small like triangular shaped craft similar to that one in the picture, and then it had a big bright white light like a sphere, like just behind the middle of the letter C. Like if you drew a letter C and then you put the big white circle like just behind the letter C with a little triangle like and back of the like covering the letter C, you'll see it. It was really weird. I think it was a battle craft
Well, like
from
think about
Cygnus.
think about this,
This looks
Susan.
similar. I could see the two prongs in the front.
Yeah, think about this.
Was
What
it
look,
going forward with the two prongs facing forward
yeah,
like?
yes, it was going from the bottom right to the top left. So it was flying in the direction of the two prongs. What would the prongs be? I mean, aeronautically, it almost looks like like machine guns or something.
The two prongs are used to shoot out energy beams, whether they be lasers or 1 to 3 dimensional Sullivan waves like streamers or something like that. And it could be focusing in on an object to modify its energy field, or it could be used as a weapon to vaporize something.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine that I see these things? I don't know how I see them because it's like I'll be like sitting there and something like this, and all of a sudden I'll go like this. Like I don't even know what makes me turn my head, and I'll look.
Telepathy. They tell you. They are communicating with you.
Yeah, and then I get the camera, and that's how I did it. Now that we're having success in this new system, I'm going to get one more to show Joe. I'm going to send one more out. Hold on, because this one that I'm going to show you next really perplexed the guy I've been talking about. Hold on. I called it the smudge.
Yeah, what happened to me was I was standing in the garage, the entrance to the garage, and all of a sudden my eyes started darting back and forth, left to right, left to right, and my head was going back and forth like you're like from left to right, and my head jerked up, and there it was. And then when I tried to videotape it, it wouldn't let me record it, and it wouldn't let me photograph it.
Wow. So strange. All right, hold on. I think I just saw it. Hold on. Two photos. Let's see. Recents. There it is. Okay. And I'll get them into an email. Now this is another remark. This actually could be the most remarkable one that I've seen, even though it may not look it. But that's why I always tell people on UFO information that the witness and the witness testimony is almost more important than the photograph because, a dot in the sky by itself doesn't mean anything, but a dot in the sky that shot into position at 1,000 miles an hour, froze, and then took off in another direction does mean something. So it's a matter of context. Smudge. All right, let's see. Let's get these in there. Come back here. You go down there. Okay. All right, smudge one. This is going to be the distance shot. But when you see what this thing was when I brought it forward, it's crazy. All right, here we go.
You make it fresh every day. Yes, every day. The whole winter is we make it fresh every day. That's delicious.
All right, Joe, you should have it coming in.
Okay. Also, there's some background noise. Could somebody mute their phone, please? Their mic?
There you go.
So I'll start to describe this when Joe puts it up. I was sitting out at a little restaurant. It was about dusk, a little bit lighter. And I just sat down, ordered a glass of wine, had my iPhone with me, and I looked to the right, and in the sky, I see almost like as if like a Piper Cub made a little black puff or a mark, but there was no plane. It just appeared. It didn't fly in or fly out. It appeared like a little black smudge. And I went, what is that? And I took 3 photographs real quick. 1, 2, 3. And Joe, when you bring it up, I'll explain. Did you get
All
it?
right. Yep.
Okay.
Hold on. There it is.
There we go.
Okay, but bring up the other one. There's 2 of them on that email. There you go. Can you enlarge that or click on it or make it bigger?
Yep.
Okay. So I want you to see, do you see the little black mark center to the left?
Yes.
That's
Right
it.
there. Yep.
That's what I saw. There's the moon. That's what I saw when I sat there. And I'm like, what is that? Like, what is that doing there? I noticed it didn't fly in or fly out. I took a photograph of it, 3 photographs, came home, loaded it on the computer, and now you can show the other picture, Joe, the one you just showed. That's what it was.
Wow. That is crazy.
Now, that's a symmetrical thing. And that's what it was. And it didn't fly away. It's like it poked itself into our whatever
Cube.
universe and poked its way. It's like it came in through the veil and out the veil.
Looks like 4 circles, 2 big ones in the bottom and 2 smaller dark circles
Yeah, but Nick,
above it.
you also have 4 points. There's a 4
Yeah.
points. It looks like a box.
Oh, yes.
But now,
Similar
interestingly,
to a ladybug.
interestingly, they've been citing, the Navy actually cited spheres with pyramids in them,
Yeah.
or cubes. So
Oh.
this definitely looks like a cube to me.
Well, you know what it looks like to me? It looks like it's like okay, so to me, it looks like a metallic-ish thing, but the only reason why the balls on the bottom are darker than on the top is that it's in perspective a little bit. So if you make it, you know what I mean? Like it's leaning back a little bit or leaning forward in the bottom. It's almost like a bowling ball where you put your fingers in but that's definitely a symmetrical object.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
And that's what was in that smudge.
Wow.
Doug, did you ever give it to anybody for evaluation? Somebody like, I'm trying to think of the gentleman's name. He's on television all the time, and he is an image processing expert. Does a lot of work for the Navy. Does
yeah, I know his name, and I know that the guy that I know in the agency knows him. But the guy in the agency saw this. And
okay.
he looked at his wife and they looked at each other. And I knew that they knew that this was something unusual. And then she said, what's strange is what it was doing there.
Well, what was it doing there?
Like it made me feel they knew what it was, but they were surprised what it was doing there. Like why it didn't belong here. What's it doing here? But
in that location, in the location
it never
where
flew.
you've seen it.
It did not fly in or fly away. It didn't move. It just popped itself out and popped itself back in like an interdimensional thing.
Yeah, the portals, kind of like Skinwalker Ranch and also several other places. Yeah, those portals are probably all over the place.
Yeah.
Doug, I just put into chat a MP4 video with a frequency diagram of the sound that Ellen Crystal and I recorded as it flew over us and then dove into the ground after it flew over us on the other side of the highway. And as it flew over us, it was mocking all of my movement with my camera, and when my shutter opened and it closed and opened and closed, it would jump up and jump up and jump up. So the pilot knew exactly what I was doing on the ground, and
That's
it's quite strange. So I'm sharing that one with you.
so Bruce, how are you seeing all these things? What are you tapped into this too, I guess?
Oh, back then, yes, in the 90s. I mean, I spent 11 years out there documenting all of the stuff that was going on there.
Bruce also did a book. He has a book about it, quite
I
comprehensive with charts and photographs and things like that.
Bruce, I
Bruce,
know
why don't you tell Doug where he can get it from?
Oh, you can just go to Amazon.com Prime and just do Bruce Cornett book,
yeah, I'll
and
find
you'll pull it up quite quickly. It's a unconventional aerial phenomena in the Hudson and Wallkill River Valley of New York.
let
It's
me add
about
one
400 pages long.
you have a lot of pictures or no?
Oh yeah, and if you get the KDP version, it's all in color,
Oh,
and it's
nice.
cheap. It's only about $9 at
Oh,
KDP.
I'll look for that. Let me add one more story from the Hudson River. I'm down at the Hudson River in Hoboken, and I'm sitting on a hill that they built out this like nice sitting area out on the pier out there, and there's a nice thing of grass, and I'm sitting on it, and I don't know. Again, I don't know how I caught this. I saw a little sphere rise out of the river and start to drift up and fly away, and it held up there and then it disappeared. It came out of the river. I'm absolutely positive.
Oh yeah, they can do that. Have you been seeing some of the documentation that is being done on the Tic Tac and the
Yeah,
Go Fast and all of those?
yeah,
Finally, these Jack Sarfatti out in California has.
yeah, no.
He basically says that they decouple from our physical environment. So that's why they can travel at extraordinary, Mach speeds without interfering with causing any sonic boom or drag or anything like that.
Well, they were talking about this with the fact that it goes underwater. There's
Yes,
one of these vehicles goes underwater and moves at a speed underwater as if the water isn't even there.
exactly, like
Yep.
600 miles an hour
Yeah,
underwater.
like what? So right. So it's not obviously not dealing with our physics.
Catalina Island and the very deep waters there. And I've been there, and people on both sides say, well, yeah, we see them. Yeah, it's
Yes,
not
Nick.
even a big deal that, yeah, they go into right into the water, boom, and they're gone. So that's a place that if you take a look at that area, there's a lot of sightings like that go right, like you're saying, Bruce, right into the water and gone.
Mhm.
Okay, I guess
Exactly.
this is a good point for me to jump in. 1970, I was a quartermaster navigator on a Coast Guard cutter. We were coming back from Vietnam, and we were about 2 days out of Guam, heading back to Honolulu, and shooting morning stars, which is around 5:30 in the morning, around at ship's time. All of a sudden, we had a gigantic mercury-colored sphere coming on a collision course towards us, or a reciprocal course to us. It was
Whoa.
about 150 feet in diameter, and the blue sky, this was June of 1970. The sky above had some cloud cover, blue sky, white clouds. The water had a slight chop to it. There's a 5 knot wind, and this thing flew. I was on the right hand side of the ship with my captain and chief and the OD, and we were shooting morning stars from there. And the thing passed us directly on our port side at an altitude of about 300 or 400 feet. Now, this thing, the reflection on it, picked up perfectly the reflection of the water and the wave action and the white caps below, and it picked up the sky above along with the clouds. The
Wow.
only thing, it was a spherical mirror, basically, perfect spherically shaped, and it's in an area that there is a lot of green type of activity over the years. So I did not see it coming out of the water, but I'm pretty sure it probably went into the water probably around the Marianas Trench, because there's been a lot of activity supposedly in that area. So, and then of course we also had a sighting, 3 UFOs flying over the ship during the Apollo 11 mission when I was Ocean Station Victor. They were clocked at 3,500 miles per hour by radar, and there was corroboration. 15 people witnessed it, and a secret report had to be sent in on that. And so all of this stuff, that's the reason all this disclosure that I'm hearing, coming out of Washington, when they start talking about thousands of these reports, then I'm going to start paying attention. Because I was told by a yeoman that worked at a place in Pearl Harbor that was part of ONI, Office of Naval Intelligence, called FICPAC, Fleet Intelligence Central Pacific. And we were playing tennis one day, and I told him about the sightings. We had 3 sightings just on my ship alone. And he laughed. And I said, no, he's laughing at me because I'm a UFO nut. He said, no, that's not the reason I'm laughing. He said, I'm laughing because we get thousands of those reports every year just from U.S. naval and military craft. So, like I said, disclosure is disclosure. And what we're getting, I don't think, is it.
No,
it's not.
Okay. So, okay.
No, it's not at all.
I had to throw that in there.
It's a joke.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay.
So,
Go ahead, Nick.
I'm just saying it's a joke. What's going on now is just this little tiny tidbit of kind of little bits of information. It's an insult. It's an insult to anybody taking this seriously. It just is. And and I talk to other people about it too, and they say, we're not impressed at all. It needs so much more than that, and they have it. They're just not in any way giving us the real deal. They're just not.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm sure you guys know that.
Could I ask everybody a question, because this is something I'm really curious about. We think in terms of disclosure, and we think in terms of our country, United States of America, disclosing this, but we've got a big world out there. We've got China, and we've got Russia, and we've got all these countries. Do these governments, does our government, Chinese government, the Russian government, and whoever else, do they already have a unity in agreement of how to go about this topic? Because we're all talking about USA disclosing. Well, what if Russia just discloses and says we don't care, and it goes all over the news and everything? To me, in my opinion, they're all united. All these countries are united in not disclosing it, which means which leads my mind to thinking that all these wars are false wars. We're really all together in everything, and we're playing the public with
exactly.
Yes.
It's a distraction to keep everybody's mind off of the fact that the China, Russia, the United States, and other countries are actually, their navies are actually developing weapons in cahoots to try to shoot them down. And this is unconscionable. It's a death sentence for the human race. What's happening is, like Malaysian Flight 370, when it went down, I can tell you firsthand exactly what happened. I even told Bruce Cornett when it happened. I wrote it down. I said there are certain ones that are responsible for eliminating that flight, and I even predicted that the protocol that the ETs, I want to say we operated, was we took the ship, we took the flight, we took it off the key passengers, and then we're going to allow some of the debris to float up on the shores later on. Just everything happened exactly as I predicted. And now there is a CIA memo or something that was released, and it was Robert Morningstar who sent me it was called Kona Blue, and I think he sent a copy to Bruce Cornett. And exactly that, they said that it was some toxic UFO technology that abducted the flight. And if you want to know why, just read the passenger manifest. That explains everything. They're a bunch of defense contractors. They had the little chips that they were going to put in the missile heads, and they were going to put in the different weapons like laser weapons and stuff. And we had to intervene to stop it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was basically one. It was basically one company, and there were 100 and some. They were going to a conference in China, I believe Beijing, and the owner, the president of the company, was on there as well. a lot of them were Chinese nationals, and
Yeah.
there's an export protocol that you're not supposed to take military grade or type technology that can be used by the military. And so there's a lot of things that went on, I think, with that flight. Maybe there's a big overlap on them as well, too. But again, eventually, I think it'll be solved.
Well, the flight indicates, why would China and the U.S. and Russia be enemies when behind the scenes they're actually working together and they're exchanging technology and ideas and patents? That doesn't make any sense unless they're trying to keep the general public distracted when they're planning an all-out assault against them up there,
Susan,
which is a big mistake.
When you were working for the nuclear industry, didn't you tell me that at some of the nuclear plants, you actually saw Greys working with humans?
Yes. Okay. What had happened was I was working at the Savannah River site. Okay. I don't know if I should say this in the public or not, but basically they knew who and what I was. And the managers of a certain facility at the site told me that I'm not human. I do not act human. I do not act like a human. And in my mind, how do they know what a human acts like or doesn't act like unless they've seen something else? And they were going. They tried to kill me 3 or 4 different times, and I had to get out of there. Then I find out later from another source, it's a reliable source, that told me that it was a woman in Atlanta who was an abductee, and she was taken on board by the Greys for a joyride, so to speak, and went down to a DOE site in the Deep South and was showing Greys working elbow to elbow with the humans. Well, the only way that would happen is if you've got the negative ET scourge working with the military industrial complex and the evil elite, and they're sharing information. That's why they don't want to disclose anything, because they don't want to disclose their culpability involved and betraying their own human race. And not only that, I saw this. This source told me, and I knew it was true. And then when I was working up there at Savannah River site, another person who was someone I hung out with told me that before 2 weeks before I got up there, he saw an actual Grey running across the road in front of him. So that's very telling.
Wow.
Okay. There's a couple of folks that Stan, you haven't had a chance. Neither has Kathy Graves. We're going to start winding this down. It's already almost 9:15, so we're running a little bit late. Stanley, you want to start it?
No, I'm okay right now. I think I've learned enough information, and I'll pass on to the next one.
Okay. All right, Kathy, how about you? You're muted.
Hi. Yeah, some of the information I think I'm familiar with, and other information is new, but it's always nice to share, people sharing their experiences, because some of us sometimes can click in on certain things and know we're not alone with it. So it's good stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Okay.
Is it okay if I share a picture? Because this ship might look similar to what Bruce and Doug were talking about. Can I share this picture on the screen?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Susan.
Okay, so how do I do it? I clicked.
Well, are you on your phone, or are you on a computer?
Yeah, I'm on my phone. Do I put add
Good.
or? I clicked share, and I selected the picture.
Share.
Okay, and I selected the picture.
Okay, then when you click share, share, it should bring up your screen, and then just execute the picture.
How do I execute
turn your camera on, Susan?
What?
Turn your camera on.
No, I don't think the camera.
Wait a minute.
I don't think the camera is needed. It's a file, right? What's it?
Can she put it in chat?
Yeah, because I don't know if add.
Maybe email.
Yeah, put it in chat. Yeah, put it in chat. Bruce
Wait a minute. There it is. There it is.
Okay, right.
You got it.
Wow, I mean, that's
you got it.
Yeah,
yep,
it's in the ballpark. What I showed you.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the ballpark. I mean, it's not exactly, but it's It's in that kind of, wow.
It
Yep.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was that this was going forward. The letter C, the two prongs were going
Yeah.
forward. And it was triangle. Yeah, and that's our symbols. Our Quran battle cruiser in our language. I do speak the star language and stuff too, and that's been talked about before. Okay, so how do I bring it down?
Susan, do you have like, along with Bruce and others on the site, do you have like a website I can see or contact you with, or maybe Joe and I could pull all that together at another time?
You have my website that I gave you in
How do I
chat.
bring this down?
Oh, I know that. I got Bruce.
Okay,
I'm good with
one
you.
at a time. One at a time. Okay, one at a time.
Bruce, I'm good with you, so I've got all your stuff. But Susan, how would I be able to stay in contact with you?
Oh, you can call me or email me. You can call me at 78. Wait, wait, what's your name again?
Doug.
Doug Auld.
Doug Auld.
Doug Auld. Okay.
Or do you want me to? I could email you, or you could email me.
Just give him your website. I mean, your email.
Yeah, my email is dougauld@gmail.com.
Okay, what?
AULD.
I'm sending it to you in the chat.
Okay. dougauld@gmail.com.
All right, pick it up in chat.
Hold on.
And then my cell, and I'll give you my. I'm sending it to you in the chat to Doug Auld alone.
I don't see any
No, it should show up in the chat column there.
Okay. All right, I see it. Susan.
Susan, I can shoot you Doug's email address if it's okay with Doug.
Yeah. It's YSORON, right?
YSORON, and I screwed up the Gmail part, so I got to send that. His phone keeps wanting to change letters on me.
Don't worry about it. I got the Gmail part.
All the time.
I got it. Okay, that's Susan Johnson, YSORN.
Okay. So how do I remove the picture so I can see you guys then?
Okay.
Okay. Well, I think we had a pretty complete go around, right, Doug?
I think so. And
sorry, I couldn't get that stuff working for you. Though.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, we
can. Oh wait, do you have a phone number?
I do. 201.
Wait, I gotta write it down. Right. Doug Auld.
AULD. Like Auld Lang Syne. Auld Lang Syne.
Auld.
Doug Auld. 201 563 0445.
0445.
That's correct.
No, 0445. Okay, 445. Okay.
Yeah, 0445. 201 563 0445. And then my email is dougauld@gmail.com.
Doug R.
Auld, AULD. But I mean, Phil Schneider talked. Everybody know the name Phil Schneider when it was on a ground basis.
Oh yes.
He talked about having battles and fighting these beings underground.
Yep.
Oh yeah. That's one of my fortes. I can go on that into that for hours. The kind of wars that's going on there, who's fighting them, what kind of craft they're using, how to identify when you're looking at a UFO, if it's alien, if it's human, if it's secret space fleet, and everything. I mean, I've started doing that heavy duty since 2008.
Okay, what we'll do, we'll have that on a special session, right?
I look forward to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I want to thank everybody for your patience, Doug, especially you.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay. Thanks for all who showed up. I will have this uploaded probably by tomorrow at the latest.
Joe, okay. I appreciate everything. Thanks for having me on. That was great, Joe. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on too. And I enjoy meeting you, Doug.
Oh, same here. And I'm going to check out your stuff. And everybody. And Nick, we all have to speak again, and let's all carry your spirit energy for Hypnotta getting on a stage somewhere.
Absolutely. Okay, everyone.
Yeah, on my web channel, you're going to get a recording of my regression when I was abducted in front of my entire drill crew